Absolutely.
Detroit Pistons, they drop a game in overtime. Cade Cunningham wound up getting hurt towards the end of regulation.
No.
And did not return. We didn't get an update just yet, so I'm still, waiting to see what's what. But overall, it's like wash, rinse, repeat, another close loss to a team that I wanted to see them go out there and beat, who didn't have one of their best players in Bridges.
It was unfortunate. Tobias had his best game as a Piston. I thought if you would have told me that Tobias would play that well, I would have said double-digit win for the Pistons.
Yep.
And unfortunately, that didn't happen. I hope, and I beg of the Pistons to do this, when you get the Hornets back at LCA, body bag those bums. And I get it. I can't call them bums. That's unfair because the Hornets have beaten the Pistons twice this year. But it's just, you let two slip away against them. It's kind of been the theme of the season. You've closed out some games, the Pistons have, but they've also let some slip away, unfortunately. And they took the L last night. Fortunately for the state of Michigan and for Detroit sports, they were the only one to take the L last night. But for a team that's, I would say, has play-in aspirations now, those are the type of games you can't lose.
You cannot lose those games, man. And there was a player who was continuing to catch increased ire from the Detroit Pistons fan base. That is one Jalen Duren.
Yeah.
And he went invisible for a while, and it looked like JB Bickerstaff course corrected and had him on the bench for a long time. And, I believe that he's a young player. I believe that they need to supplement. I've been saying that for about a year now. You got to get somebody else in here. I do still have some hopes for him because I do believe he's so young and he's just getting to a good staff to develop him. But you want to see a little bit better a lot sooner because Diabate put him just in a body bag last night, bro.
You can't let Musa Diabate put you in a body bag. That is so unacceptable. I can't even begin to explain. And trust me, I know all about Musa Diabate. He was a Michigan man. He was a guy who I knew would kind of be very limited offensively, just kind of an effort rebound guy. And yeah, that can't happen.
Tell me you weren't sitting there like, darn it, that's exactly what we need on our team.
Yes. I love Musa Diabate. I would love Musa Diabate on the Pistons right now. And I would love Isaiah Stewart to get a growth spurt at like age 25. That's what I would love. But no, your point is well taken that you were one of the loudest voices of they need to supplement get a big man to supplement Jalen Duren to insulate him a little bit, to kind of give you what Jalen Duren doesn't give you quite yet.
Yeah.
They haven't done it, and unfortunately it's a weak point.
Check this out, because if you were going to say what the Pistons' big three was, there's a couple combinations that will come to mind before the one that popped up on ESPN's list. This is what's crazy. It should be unanimously Cade, Ivy, and Duren.
It should
be. And if you're like, okay, Duren's struggling, then it should be Cade, Ivy, and Tobias. Do you know what it actually is?
What is it?
Cade, Ivy, and Ron Holland. And that was the trio. I was like, you know what? I'm really hoping we see a lot of them together this year. And it's really because of the hustle and the energy that he brings to the court. So shout out to Ron Holland. These Pistons, man, they are 7-10, still in playoff positioning. Not a lot of us would have pegged them to be 7-10 at this position. So they got to turn this one around.
They do, but a team that hopefully started their turnaround last night was the Detroit Red Wings. They needed a win in the worst way. Derek Lalonde probably needed a win for his job, and they got one.
You called it.
And it was, I'll be honest, about halfway through the third period, it was looking really, really rough. I understand that the Red Wings, they had more opportunities. They did outshoot the Islanders, which is very, very rare this season. They did, but they were down 1-0 with 5 minutes left to go in the third period. If you lose that game 1-0, how bad would that look?
And you know
that would look awful, but they didn't.
Yeah, and one of the things we were talking about yesterday, I was wondering, is like, okay, even though we might be checked out on Derek Lalonde, are the players checked out? That was one of the questions. I was like, all right, let's see how they go out there and perform, because they're going to need to get some extra, they're going to have to pull from some extra source of energy to be able to overcome this kind of bad start, where at one point we were like, this squad is about to be in the playoffs, to now they're like at the bottom of the standings. So to see them be able to pull that game out that way and to fight and to claw to get back, I'm glad to see that these guys are going to play regardless, and that Lalonde does have some way to motivate them.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the defense played one of their better games of the season. I thought Alex Lyon was fantastic, which he's been many times this year, but it was good to see him have a bounce-back game. And towards the end, I love the way that they finished because the Islanders gave them a bit of an open. His name escapes me right now, but an Islander, I don't know if he was a defenseman or just a player. He was trying to just hit the puck out of trouble, but he just loses his stick. And then it just creates a golden opportunity, a 3-on-1 breakaway that Jonathan Berggren takes himself and puts it in the net to tie the game. And then at the end, when it was 1-1 with about a minute left, you had Dylan Larkin possessing the puck in the offensive zone. He gets it knocked away towards the boards, but he wins the battle at the boards. He gets the puck. He finds a wide open Lucas Raymond, and Lucas Raymond puts it in for a game winner. Lucas Raymond, game-winning goal. How many more times are we going to hear that? That is just... that's sexy. Lucas Raymond, game-winning goal in a must-win game. And honestly, as down as I've been on the Red Wings, as disappointed as I was in that disastrous West Coast trip, they just started last night a stretch where they play five of their 6 at home. Now 4 of their next 5 at home, already getting that win over the Islanders. That 6-game stretch, I'm going to need 8 points. 8 points minimum. Ideally even more, but 8 points minimum, and you stabilize things a bit. If you get more than that, Derek Lalonde's seat really cools off, for better or for worse.
Yeah, I like the sounds of that, man. I really do, because I want to see these teams achieve all that they can. I feel like this is a unique season where, for the Red Wings, we expected playoffs. For the Pistons, we expected just to see that there was some type of foundation being built there between Trajan, J.B. Bickerstaff, and whatever they felt like was the core of this team going forward. And instead, we might have an opportunity where all 4 teams make the playoffs in the same calendar season. So that's where it's just like, yeah, if you are there. Because I saw, some people online that were like, hey, we should be a little bit more happy with the fact that the Pistons are 7-10. And it's like, while we can see that they might have exceeded our expectations, one of the things that we've all continued to say, even about them, is let's not judge them based on basically the wheels falling off the bus. This team should have been one that was winning 30 games minimum the last couple seasons. And so seeing them at 7-10 right now, seeing the talent that they have, understanding the money that's on the books, not just this year, but going into next year when K's deal goes, and then Tobias is still making $26 million.
Yeah.
You want to see this team taking the necessary strides, and if you can win and hold them to those new expectations.
Yes, and before we talk about the biggest news of the day, Dante151, thank you for the $9.99 super chat. You are the absolute GOAT. The Pistons are so close to winning these close games consistently on a nightly basis. We all have to remember the Pistons were behind by 20 points against the Hornets. For the Pistons to do that is good. And I'll say this, it was a nice comeback. It was looking really bleak at points. You can't be down 20 to the Hornets.
You can't.
Jaden Ivey was so bad at the beginning of the game. This isn't an Ivey hate. He did some nice things in overtime for sure, but he was not good. He was a ghost, and Jalen Duren had his struggles as well, and that's one of the reasons they were down by as much as they were. And even Cade, I'm not going to put too much on Cade, but it wasn't his most efficient night shooting the ball or from 3 either.
There's a difference between breaking down the game to game versus what our overarching feeling is. Overarchingly, I am pro this backcourt. I am pro Jalen Duren. Sure. I am pro Isaiah Stewart. But we're always going to talk about the aspects of the game as well that we think, hey, maybe these are some things that they can clean up, just to be honest to the process. Like, we're not cheerleaders necessarily. We can like the players. We can want them to do good. We can want them to do better. But at the end of the day, if we love basketball, let's also break that bread appropriately too. And one more.